Boom.
Is that
And
close enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. And we're on.
Sweet.
Troy, thanks for making the way down.
Yeah, easy.
In your busy as fuck schedule, you don't really... Do you get down to Adelaide often anymore? Are you travelling most of it?
Yeah, so like I grew up in Adelaide, live in Adelaide my whole life, and then I've been travelling, to and from Adelaide, overseas, around Australia, but I've always come back to Adelaide.
You're always based here?
Yeah, always based here, got a wife, got a house, everything, so yeah, it's kind of like, even though I've been all around the world, I still think Adelaide's one of the nicer places to be.
Yeah, see, I used to live in Sydney, and I thought it was cool I used to live inside the Blue Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was obviously sick because I was inside the Blue Mountains, but it's just not the same as Adelaide.
Yeah. Adelaide's with its like beaches. I mean, there's no waves, but with its beaches and coastline, and then like the sun setting on that, it's hard to beat that anywhere in the world, I reckon. Like, I think we're just too granted with it that we forget.
Yeah, see, I like to look at the beach, but I don't go in the water at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm fucking terrified of it. There was a shark attack down at Porties the other day.
Yeah, I did see that.
This girl got her face eaten off.
I was actually thinking about going surfing this summer, and I was speaking to like my mechanic that's from Adelaide as well, and we were both like, yeah, let's go surfing, blah, 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 and then we hear that, and we're like,
I heard a bit about your mechanic as well. Jeff was telling me about him. Apparently, he's a guru.
Yeah, he's come from just being a bike shop mechanic to like, one of the best mechanics on the world circuit, of knowing obviously like the mechanic side of it, of getting the bike dialed and brakes and gears, everything, but now he's kind of gone so deep into suspension and how to tune that, and then obviously he's like a really good friend of mine as well as my mechanic now, so he knows kind of like my feelings and how I want to, like, I don't know, best trying to describe something, a feeling on the bike, and then he can kind of bring that into what he wants to do with suspension for me. So it's like...
What was his name?
Aaron Pilari.
Aaron Pilari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching your vlogs, and he looks like he's a bit of like a mad fucking scientist with a bike.
Yeah.
Like he can just look at it.
Yeah,
and just kind of know. He's obviously like a very professional.
Yeah, for sure. Like he looks the same as me, like a kind of just a normal mountain bike derelict Australian rider. But he definitely knows a lot about bikes and suspension, and then how I like to set them up, which helps. But he also gets pretty loose on the bike himself as well, which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
That obviously helps.
Yeah. So he obviously knows the feeling that I'm going through as well. But yeah, he just likes to crash a fair bit as well.
I watched one of your videos of, I'm sure you've had a million crashes in your lifetime, but there was one that was on YouTube that looked fucking bad, where you backed onto a tree, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was wild. So for anyone who doesn't know, Troy is probably one of the best in the world, modestly, at downhill mountain biking.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
top 10er?
Yeah.
You'd be a top 10er for sure.
Yeah.
Like, do you have an actual rank? Is there an actual ranking system?
So like, I guess this previous year that's just gone, I was 8th overall, and then got 5th at the World Championships, which is just a single event. But then, I guess the last 10 years I've been like consistently in, you could almost say the top 3, but I'd say like top 5 is probably a modest kind of.
What was the competition that you just posted on your YouTube channel? So for anyone who, after this, if they want, they can go to Troy Brosnan on YouTube, and it's just his name, and that's his YouTube channel, and he does vlogs and stuff. And you just went to Italy, was it?
Yeah.
Was that Italy, the last one?
So Italy was mid-season. The very last one would have been Mont Saint Anne in Canada.
One. Yes.
Yeah. And it was like on and off kind of weather conditions a bit, and rained on race day.
That was the one where you just couldn't kind of get yourself to get to a speed.
Yeah, like I kind of, like, I did really good qualifying. I think I was second, and then maybe second again in the semi or something, or fifth in the semi, and then in the race I just like, there's a race run at the end as well, and I just couldn't like just find that extra little click to get on the podium, which is like, the times are so tight. I was
going to say, you just miss out on like by 0.04 seconds and shit like that. It's wild.
Yeah, like
which
I've
is literally just one notch of the pedal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, fully. Like I've come second at a world championships by like 0.2 of a second.
Does that piss you off then, like not completing the race and like crashing?
Yeah, I would probably rather like be up by a second and crash than get second by the tiniest bit.
Do your head in.
Yeah, but I think it's all stemmed from my first world champs. As a junior, I won the race by like 0.2 of a second.
That would feel so good.
It was like, no, I think it was even 0.02. Like it wasn't even 0.2, it was like 0.002 or something.
That's
like
insane.
Something crazy. And I think that's haunted me a little bit, because I've definitely lost a few races by the 0.2, like not 0.2, but yeah, it's crazy how tight times actually are these days, like especially this year. Like they've changed from just qualifying to race run. They went from qualifying into a semi-final, which then cut 60 riders to 30 riders into the final. And with that semi, it kind of gave everyone like another run to figure it out, like especially a race run, because qualifying is say like on a Saturday, and then the semi-final was on the Sunday midday, and then the race run was like, I don't know, 3 p.m. So you kind of have that extra race run to figure out what you could do in the final if you got through.
Yeah.
And then the times just got squashed and just completely came together.
Yeah, no shit. It seems like when you're dealing with any sport of like, in a sport of like inches, that's like a sport of millimeters. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, 4-minute track and you're getting, 0.2 of a second off. That's maybe 2 meters, not even.
The races are heaps longer than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Like I thought when I imagined downhill racing, because I obviously didn't know much about it until I like started like really getting into it the last week on YouTube. The races go for a while. Like it's also an endurance. I thought it was like a 30-second to a minute run.
Yeah, yeah.
But some of them go for like 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's not, I guess you could see it as like a BMX race where it's like 30 seconds and it's done and it's more explosive. But yeah, it's a really hard thing to train for, because it's anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, I would say, is like a World Cup length track. So you need that explosive stuff to like get out of the corners and be like really on it and kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the endurance, once you get 2 minutes in, like all those energy systems are gone.
Yeah.
And you've got nothing to rely on. So you're always trying to battle like being, I say, like cross country fit, where it's like, endurance fit.
Yeah.
But then you need like the full sprint explosive fitness out of it and power. So to try and get the best of both worlds is like, it's the hardest thing to juggle.
And because you're about my height, is that normal in mountain biking?
Nah, I'm like one of the smaller.
I was going to say, because that would be like almost, probably be more nimble, but that would mean your leg power is obviously not the same as like someone who's 6 foot.
Yeah.
Because their legs would be bigger, but you still clock the fucking craziest speeds.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Like back in the day, a lot of the fastest riders were bigger ones, like 6 foot, huge dudes, and they'd just be bombing. Like it was more straight line fire roads back then with some technical stuff. And now these days it's kind of gone the other way, then come back again. So it's hard. But then you've got people that are winning races that are like 6 foot plus and like really tall and lanky and have massive long bikes. And then just this year we've had like a junior rider come up into elite for his first year, and he's smaller than me, would weigh maybe 60 kilos if he's lucky, and like waxed everyone.
No shit.
Yeah, he won 2 races, got second in the overall, like, yeah, just completely destroyed everyone. So I guess it's like, it's getting to the point where it's like a power to weight ratio for sprinting, but I think the skill aspect of like your riding skill outweighs anything. So.
Because it's insane. The kids these days are just they're getting so good at sports.
Yeah.
Like, especially even like sports that were considered niche back in the day, they're the ones that are going to bring it into the mainstream. Because even like I watch a lot of MMA, like the skill level of these people that come in now when they're 18 to 22 years old, they're freaks.
Yeah.
Like and they're physically they're freaks as well. Like I don't know if it's because they have more access to knowledge on like YouTube and shit. Like a kid can download so much knowledge into its brain within a week, rather than when you were probably growing up, you probably had to like rent a fucking VHS or watch a DVD.
Just out there trying to figure it out myself pretty much. But I think like one thing that I've like kind of come to is, I guess when we were growing up, like you would always do a sport which would then lead into a different sport. Like I did BMX and I raced BMX, you know, for 5 years or whatever, and then had a year off and then got into downhilling. And then I think same with MMA, like these kids they might have been into kickboxing or boxing and then got into MMA. Like these kids are straight
MMA. Yeah, that's so fucking true.
Yeah. Same with this rider that's like winning. I remember being like, I was pretty young and I was over in Canada where he's from. And I saw him on a little Strider bike, like hucking off these stairs and stuff when he was 3 or 4 years old. And he went straight into downhill. So it's like they know nothing else but downhilling. Like they didn't get skills from somewhere else and try and bring it over. They're just straight.
Like no interest in BMX at all. It's just strictly downhill.
Straight in. So they're like learnt what we learnt, but like 5-10 years earlier.
You grew up down south in Adelaide?
Yeah. So I was kind of like Hallett Cove area. So I had the BMX tracks in Hallett Cove, Happy Valley. Did that for a bit. I think my best ever result was 7th in Australia, like here in Happy Valley when they held the Nationals. And then apart from that, I was a bit too scared once the kids started to grow and I didn't. Like they would nudge me out the way, and because you're obviously racing with people, I kind of would always back out. Like I'd get a good gate start, but then still get a little scared and back out. And then, kind of got sick and tired of BMX and finished that. And then, got introduced to downhill, and then the feeling of like being on the track on your own, and just like, I don't know, downhilling was pretty fun. Didn't have to like pedal much at that stage. You'd just ride your bike down and mum and dad would take you back up in the car. So that was pretty amazing for, when I first started out. And then, I guess the joy of it and the results started kind of piling in, and now I'm where I am today.
You won like 2 or 3 championships when you were a kid in downhill, the juniors?
Yeah, so I won. So in juniors, you kind of have 2 years. In your under 19s is kind of what they call it. 2 years to win, I guess, a world champs or a World Cup overall. So I was pretty lucky in 2010 and 2011. My 2 junior years, I got on a pretty good team with a good bike and won the overall and the world championship like both years. So it was like, I think I was maybe the 2nd or 3rd junior to ever do that, like clean sweep all of it. So
how much does the bike make a difference?
Actually a fair bit. And I'm starting to learn that, like especially now these days where the times are getting so tight and close, plus the technology is getting really good. It kind of becomes like one of the more vital parts. Like everyone's training the same, everyone's riding as much as they can. We all have similar speeds, like things vary a little bit, but then the bike and the bike setup. So I think if you can get a really good bike underneath you and then have the right people, like your suspension technician and stuff, like to set up your bike for that track and that run and that time, then that's what kind of elevates it. So it's kind of a bike and a suspension setup kind of combo.
I imagine the bikes are also light as fuck now.
Yeah, they're only like, well, there's a funny one as well. They're only about 16 kilos, which is crazy. Like they used to be 22, massive, heavy, like steel frame. Now they're all carbon. But
that's with the wheels?
Yeah, that's everything. Pedals, wheels, everything.
Road bikes are heaps lighter, aren't they?
Yeah, so like a road bike on the streets would be like I think they're getting down to like 6 kilos now. Like they're just...
I did a podcast with a road biker.
Yeah.
But the audio stuffed up, but he was a very, very interesting dude.
Yeah,
What was his name? Durian Rider. He's an odd character.
Yeah. He is. He's
really nice dude in person.
Yeah.
Like, he was actually really nice. Very like strong opinion on like heaps weird shit.
Yeah, it's
really
insane.
good dude though.
Yeah, I've spoken to him a couple times, and yeah, super good dude. But he just thinks outside the box 24/7.
He honestly, if it came down to it, I think would commit a genocide on car riders. Yeah. Like he would want to kill all of them.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I've heard some stories that I probably shouldn't repeat of him riding and cars going past, but. Yeah, back to the frame. Like this year, we've actually come into a weird thing where we've been putting lead weight up to like a kilo underneath our bottom bracket, which then like brings the weight to the center of the bike and as low as possible, like center of gravity, which then helps like grip, like traction.
Shit.
So we've learned that from the e-bikes that have come out. So there's e-mountain bikes that have come out now, and they've got like obviously a motor where the bottom bracket is. Integrated in, and that's obviously really heavy, but when you ride one you kind of go, you have a sense of like this unlimited traction. It's really weird. So now this year even I ran it at a few races where I'd run 250 grams or 500 grams of like lead weight underneath the bottom bracket, which then would help kind of settle the bike in real choppy tracks, and then also like just give me a bit more traction. So it's very funny how like 3 years ago, everyone was trying to go as light as possible, and now we're starting to put weight back on the bike.
Yeah, no shit.
It's just a full circle.
And so is there actual tournaments for those e-bikes as well? Because some of those, I have friends that have some, and they are just motorbikes. They are that quick.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are crazy.
Yeah, there's some e-bikes that are like, you can fully unlock them and
go
do
like
crazy stuff.
Like 80 kilometers an hour, easy.
Yeah, fully. You see those stealth ones that I would call them a motorbike, to be honest, but they're like, they can go up to like 100.
Yeah, and they don't make noise.
Yeah, exactly. And they're ripping through Blair National Park like it's nothing.
Yeah, people do it on the bike track here.
Yeah, fully. Yeah, but yeah, there are races where there's like World Cups for, it's more enduro XC at the moment, but I think I don't think it'll ever come into downhill because it's not, I don't think you go faster with an engine in downhill because you don't pedal that much. But I think enduro it's going to be pretty heavy in that sport because you can obviously do more tracks, more runs, because you can like pedal up faster and then get more stages down, where we just get the chairlift up. So it's kind of not going to help. It's not going to help with downhill as much, but I think enduro, that's where they should push it really hard because, they're doing 5 or 6 stages a day and climbing.
By enduro, do you mean endurance races?
Yeah, so enduro, I guess, is a mountain bike race where you have to ride up to the top of the mountain, I guess you could say, but then you still do kind of like a downhill stage, and only the downhill stage is timed. So you have to make it up to the top of the track yourself by pedaling within a certain amount of time, say like an hour it takes to ride up there. So you have to get up there for your start time, but then the track down could only be like 5 minutes long kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go right up another section of mountain and then do another track over there. So if you've got an e-bike, instead of it taking an hour, it's taken half an hour to climb to the top, and you do the same stage down, then you like go over here, go over there, change a battery, and then you could get 10 stages easy in a day. And then it's more racing, more like kind of tracks for spectators to watch.
It's more efficient.
I think that will be like the push forward for that.
And so are these like really big tracks that you go on, are they just ski slopes that are defrosted a lot of the time, or like mountains that would be in snow season, snowing mountain, like snowboarding mountains?
Yeah, fully. So pretty much like every place that has a downhill park, or I guess like a chairlift, you could say, has come from a snow ski. Like, there's no way that people are putting in chairlifts.
I was gonna say,
for mountain
because
bikes.
I was like, fuck, they must be like a pretty big sport if they're putting chairlifts specifically
Yeah.
for mountain biking.
Yeah. I mean, one
It's
day,
massive in Europe though and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you think Europe has got ski mountains and chairlifts
And
scattered.
South America, is it big in South America?
It's pretty big. I don't know how many chairlifts and stuff they use over there.
They're
But
pretty mountainous.
Yeah.
They've got like really good terrain for it, I'd imagine, up there.
yeah, I've never been actually, so I'm not fully sure. But yeah, like all over Europe, like France, Italy, Austria, just got like anywhere that's got a chairlift pretty much runs that chairlift in summer and just puts bike carriages on and off you go. So I think Whistler in Canada, which is like a huge ski place, like then became a really big mountain bike like area, and they just built the best tracks, the most tracks that anyone's ever seen, and that kind of started the idea of like all these winter chairlift like locations going, oh, they're making money off of mountain bikes in the summer, like why are we staying closed? Let's open the whole park up and bring people 24/7, you know. So that was pretty cool to see them do so well and then start this whole European, I guess, like activation of bike parks.
Do they do it in Bulla?
Yeah, so they do in Bulla, and the only problem is like when you finish the run, you finish down in the dip of Bulla, because Bulla goes down and then back up the other side. So when you finish at the dip, you got to like get on the chairlift and like it doesn't slow down. So they like pull the chair back and you go like sit on it as they let go, and it like whips your legs underneath you and gets sketchy. And I think I actually think a kid just fell off recently and now they've like canned the chairlift.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's a bit shit. Like I know one of my friends has fallen off of that before as well, so it's always been a little bit sketchy. But I think when the kid fell off, he actually like broke some bones and damaged himself enough to shut it down.
With downhill, it's a bit of like a disadvantage coming from South Australia, really.
Yeah.
Because we
have nothing.
We got nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's
you got
crazy.
some trails. Well, we're pretty close to sea level. Like we just don't, even Australia in general.
Yeah.
Like we just don't have that kind of terrain. I'm sure there's like specific tracks and stuff that are good, but it's not like say you go to Europe or
Yeah.
like America, or like we're not very mountainous here. But so, I don't know, I've never been to Tasmania. I imagine Tasmania would probably be the best spot for it.
Yeah, so pretty much like Adelaide, you've got Fox Creek, which is a bike park, and then Eagle on the Hill, and that's about it for like the good longest tracks you can find, and the tracks are like not even 2 minutes long at that stage, so that's pretty limited. And then yeah, obviously Tasmania has got the bigger mountains. It's got a new bike park that's just a few years old now called Maydena Bike Park, which is in the town of Maydena, and it's like huge. Like they've pretty much just gone bought all this land, built hundreds of tracks, and like the tracks are really good. They're built properly, and like if you get a shuttle all the way to the top, you can go halfway as well. But if you go to the top, I think I've raced there from the top to bottom, and it took me like 13 minutes, which is like unheard of.
Zooming as well,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, like completely sprinting. Like it was a race, so I was going. It was a pretty short way down as well, like one of the shortest ways you can get down, and it was just full pin the whole way. And it took me
13
like
minutes, that'd be like at least, how many kilometres would that be?
I don't even know. It's like
Because you're going downhill, so you're going quick.
yeah. There's a few bits that are pretty slow, but then obviously there's some sections where you're doing 60, 70. But yeah, and then obviously the only other place that's pretty big and has the only place with a chairlift is Thredbo. So Thredbo has a kind of a bike park there, but they've only got like 3 tracks. So you've got a downhill track, like an easy track, and then like a blue and a green. So it's kind of like you go there, and like I only go there for racing now because the one track is kind of, it's the same. So I can go ride there, but I've done it so many times that not much has changed.
Yeah.
And I can't feel anything new. So it'd be sick if Thredbo could like tap into, I think it's a full national park thing where they can't build hundreds of tracks, but
Yeah.
if they could just get like one more downhill track or like a new one or something, that would open up, like they could have a national there, they could have a World Cup there, you know, like yeah, it's a bit far away from an airport and stuff, but it would work. Like, the track that they could build underneath would easily be World Cup standard.
It's a weird sport because you can't really do like artificial tracks or like there's no other real training besides going down tracks. It's not like climbing. You kind of can go to a bouldering gym and kind of just get your grip strength down. I guess you can do like endurance and just do bike work on the road, but it's probably just different skills probably that don't really translate.
Yeah,
the only training you'd probably get is on an actual track.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'll pretty much just shoot off and go overseas and just ride a bike park for 1 to 2 weeks before like the first race of the season, just to get that little bit more in. But also being home for that long, it's like the only thing that I've found is like semi close to be able to work the whole body is like motocross. So that one,
really?
Yeah.
Do you ride motorbikes as well?
Yeah, so I ride that, like, all just for fun. I don't race or anything, but yeah, kind of just try and, I don't know, like, use that and do like sprint laps for like 5 minutes kind of thing. And I'm like not that good, but it's enough to like give me arm pump, kind of get the heart rate up and have a similar feeling to downhilling.
Yeah, right.
But then again, the bike is like 100 kilos more than my mountain bike. So
I had on a freestyle motocross dude on here, Darcy Morris.
Oh yeah.
He fucking flings his body through the air.
Yeah.
Stresses me out. It's just
it's pretty gnarly.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Look, and we were talking off camera about like all those other events because I'm not sure because I think they class it as downhill, but it's not downhill like all the Red Bull events and stuff. But they're more freestyle events, I guess.
Yeah.
Those things are just insane.
Yeah.
Like they are just centimeters away from dying at all times.
Yeah, the Red Bull Rampage thing is just like it looks big on TV, and if it looks big on TV, like imagine standing like at the base of a jump.
It's gross.
Like people have asked me like, "Oh, would you ever do Rampage?" And straight away, I'd like, you couldn't pay me enough to go do it.
How much do they get paid? It wouldn't be millions, surely.
Nah, like I'm sure if you win one with the bonuses and then maybe your salary the next year, you'd be getting close, I would say. But even if someone came to me with like $1 million, was like, you need to go send your life at Red Bull Rampage, I'd be heavily thinking twice. Like I'd probably go and have a look, but to actually do it, like I don't know if I've got like that set of nuts on me to actually send it, you know, like it's just insane.
Because you probably have all the skills to do it. It's more like the balls. That is the problem. Because if you like second guess yourself 2 seconds before you're hitting that jump, you're going to die.
Yeah, fully. And then like on top of that, they're throwing in tricks that I can't do.
People are doing suicide backflips with no fucking hands and shit. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't even understand it.
Someone was telling me, I don't know if it's a specific Rampage event, but they dig out their own tracks.
Yeah, so that is Red Bull Rampage where they go, I think it's a week before.
Yeah, I'm not fucking you're not going to send your fucking body over a canyon, over a fucking ramp that's been there for a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, they look at it like a full like canyon gap and they're like, if I build the lip like this, I think I'll make it.
That's insane. And when you're doing shit like that, like you can't really practice that much because like, is it just kind of just visualizing it in your head enough times?
Yeah, I guess so. That's all I could really think of. Like, obviously you can't practice it because you got to make it the first time. So I guess it's like just from knowledge of doing like building jumps and jumping.
Just knowing your capability, like not overstretching your capabilities.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because it's like if you go short, you're in trouble. If you go long, you're in trouble because the jumps are so big. So pretty much if you don't land those jumps perfect, you're like in trouble, which is... Yeah,
it's the same shit as that. What's his name though? He's probably like the best freestyle BMXer in the world. Ryan Williams.
Oh yeah, the scooter kid that's gone full BMX as well.
And he does like nitro circuses and all that.
Yeah.
He's a psycho.
Yeah. Well, he's
RMW Williams, I think he's on Instagram or something.
Yeah, he's like pushed the level of like obviously scooters at first, but now even BMX because he knows how
Was
to
he a
spin.
scooter dude?
Yeah, he like, if you look way back, he was full scooter. Like,
Really?
like that kid at the skate park that would be like coming around spinning their scooters, like, I don't know, like,
He's just
I don't
a
know.
freak with anything with wheels.
Yeah, fully. And then turned into like, he obviously rode a bit of BMX at the same time, but then I guess he had the feeling of being able to spin like he would on his scooter, and then just like blew the mountain bike world to pieces, and people had to rethink everything.
I seen him doing a backflip while the bike was doing a front flip.
Yeah,
Some
Like-
shit like that. Like
Yeah.
he threw the bike in a different direction.
yeah,
It's insane.
yeah. Like that stuff, you couldn't even. I don't even think like. You just have to roll up to a ramp and just start trying it. You're not going to be able to go, oh, if I do this and this is going to work. He must have just gone into a foam pit or something and just hucked himself and gone, okay, that didn't work. Oh, this works better. Oh, but this didn't come back around. Like, thinking how many tries it would take to like
Thousands.
figure that out.
Did you see the video of that? What was it? What's Tony Hawk's trick? His famous trick, the 900.
Yeah.
Did you see that like 10-year-old nailing it back to back, two back to
Nah,
back?
I didn't see it.
He was 10 years old,
Oh, man.
and he's on a ramp, nails a 900, boom, next lip, boom, another 900, straight away.
That's insane.
And Tony Hawk reposted it, and he's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, when he did that, it was like, it was the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
It was
now
just
there's
one.
kids doing back-to-back, so it's
Yeah.
effortlessly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like kids with mountain bikes these days. They're like 5 years old trying backflips.
Just no fear.
Yeah, they're just out there just with like a mound of mulch with their dad that's just carved out a little lip into it. Probably not even their dad, probably the kid itself. And then the kid's just throwing backflips. Just
That's the best time to try and learn it, because you made a rubber when
Yeah.
you're that age. Like you can
fold in half
You
and keep
can
going.
spike on your head and you'll be fine at that age.
yeah, yeah, fully.
It's now that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I woke up on my 30th birthday and my ankle just hurt.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah, even if it probably didn't hurt much, it's like your brain's telling you like, oh, you're old now.
Just
bud.
acquired injuries when you're sleeping.
Yeah, fully. Wake up, you're like, oh, my back's all tweaked out. I must have slept wrong, but yeah, it's just getting old.
When you're mapping out like a new, say you go to a new track or something for an event and you're mapping it out, do you just walk it up and down, or do you just take your bike slow? Like how do you figure it out?
Yeah, so at the World Cups, each, say we've got 3 practice days. So we've got like practice, qualifying day, which has got practice as well, and then race day, which has also got practice. But so there's 3 days of riding, and the day before, all of that, we get to walk the track.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you don't have to, but everyone does, because you want to see where the lines are, where it's taped and stuff. So you get to see like where you want to ride and where you think you want to ride. It always changes, obviously, because lines develop and people go in different spots and whatnot, and the track gets destroyed. But yeah, we'll kind of like look at the jumps, look at insides on a corner or outsides, and trying to get a bit of a game plan going into like the first day of practice. And then from there, we just use GoPros and just film almost every run. So you can always see the track changing, and sometimes you can see a line on the GoPro that you don't see when you're riding.
Yeah.
So when you watch back your GoPro, you're like, oh, what's that line? Like, that's an inside. Like, that's got to be faster. And then you can change the line for the next run. So, yeah,
Do you keep a note of like all the fucking rocks everywhere and shit as well?
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't take one rock to ruin your day, sure. Like.
Yeah, fully, yeah. Yeah, and it's like sometimes, yeah, like rock gardens become like, or like a rock gets dislodged and then there's a hole there, so you kind of like can't ride through that bit anymore. So it's always changing, and it's always like some sections I don't like looking at because I don't want to see what I'm riding over, because then I get like nervous, right? So when you just hit a line and you know it's going to be the fastest and it feels good, you're like, okay, that's done. Like, not even going to look at that section, just keep doing that and just keep going. Because sometimes when you like walk the track again and see what you're riding over, you're like, it's not possible. Like, it doesn't look possible, but when you ride it, you just cruise over it.
Yeah, right. And obviously everywhere would have different muds and different rock types, and
Yeah.
everywhere would be different, but that's where your mechanic probably would come in to make it feel all kind of much of a muchness.
Yeah, for sure. And he even runs like a data telemetry system on the bike, which gives him like feedback into a computer saying like my averages on rebound, on compression, like whether my fork's using say 100% of the travel but my rear shock's only using 80 or something, and then he's trying to balance that out. So getting the bike balanced and getting the right rebound and stuff, especially like say if it's wetter, you would probably soften the bike up a little bit just to kind of get that more grip out of the bike in the wet conditions. But when it's drier, you can kind of like go a bit stiffer because obviously you're going faster as well, so you need that more compression and air in the fork to kind of hold you up. So it's a very like tedious thing. It's kind of like, it's almost like the MotoGP or F1 of like mountain biking, I guess you could say, where we're all trying to fight for tiny milliseconds of time, and suspension's kind of the one thing that gives the rider confidence or the driver confidence to then push faster.
Is it also that bit where you're like on a track that would make the difference, where you're like, okay, I kind of need to not worry about me getting seriously fucking injured right now and just kind of send it?
Yeah, fully.
That obviously would make a huge difference, but obviously that's risk for like the massive risk for reward.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you like go into a section, you know it's gnarly and you overthink it, and then you stiffen up and you ride worse, where if you just kind of look at it and go, all right, it's what it is, just like hit it with confidence and it becomes easy, right? So it's like that fine line between like risking a huge crash, but it's kind of hard because like you're risking a huge crash, but if you're confident going into it, like the chance of crashing is way lower. Like if you come into it second guessing, going, oh, this could be a huge crash, then obviously your chances of crashing are going to be way higher because you're already thinking it, you know? It's like when you come into a corner and you see, like, say if there's a dislodged rock like in the middle of the berm, if you look at it, you're probably going to hit it. Where if you like start looking around it and out of the corner, you're probably going to miss it. Or if you get offline and you see a tree coming close, and if you start looking at it, like your whole body action, everything's going to start heading there. If you like spot the tree and try and like just obviously you know it's there, but try and keep looking where you want to go, half the time you kind of your body helps you fight it and get away from it. So
that's one thing I was noticing with because on your YouTube channel there's heaps of GoPro footage. You're missing those trees by like fucking centimeters.
Yeah,
like usually,
dude, sometimes I like graze them with my elbow and stuff, like, and I don't even know it's there.
It's insane how close you're getting to those trees.
Yeah,
like and just like obviously because that's the quickest route to the finish line.
Yeah,
but it's fucking you never win a fight with a tree ever.
Nah,
you would
definitely not me. Not me at my size, that's for sure.
Did you so what race was the one where you had that big crash?
That would have been national champs in 2022 in Tasmania. That was race run, so I was the last man down, and like the split before was pretty close with like my other rival from here in Adelaide as well, and yeah, I just like came in to that section. I was a little bit low off my line, and there was kind of like two little levels, and I was on the low level and I wanted to be on the high one, and as I crossed over I kind of caught the edge with my front tire and it just spat me out. And then even before I hit the tree, when I like bottomed out, my ankle like broke.
Oh, really?
On the inside, yeah. So when I was like sliding before I kind of crashed, before I fully slid out, I tried to put my foot down and it got like caught on a bit of a platform and then like broke, which I didn't know at the time. And then obviously I like
didn't you stand up?
Yeah. I like stopped up against the tree, and then was like just thinking, right, like obviously the race was done, but I was like, oh, I'll just get back on my bike and just at least roll down. And I stood up, didn't feel it, and then when I went to take the first step on it, like shooting pain went all the way through my shin kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, pretty sure that's broken, and then just like sat back down.
I was going to say that you sat back down.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
You took it like a champ though, because that looked like, did you break your shoulder or anything in that?
Nah, so I don't like. I had pretty decent body armor on, but I had no marks, no bruising or anything from the tree.
Whoa, you
Nothing.
copped it good from it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So your ankle was the thing that broke.
Yeah, and it was weird. Like it kind of swelled up. Took my shoe off. Felt like a little bit sore, but nothing. Like didn't need painkillers or anything. And then, like went to the hospital. Waited in the hospital for hours. It was insane. Almost to the point where I just went back home because I couldn't. It was like 6 hours or something waiting. It was crazy. And I showed in the video and I was like, I might have hit my head on this tree, I don't know. And they were like, still, I waited 6 hours. Like,
I might be dying.
yeah, but got that done, just got like a half cast, went home, waited a little bit, got surgery, and then like this, so no painkillers, no nothing with this broken ankle, and then got the surgery, came home, and then the painkillers started wearing off from the surgery, and I thought I was tough enough to not need painkillers again. The most pain I've ever been in.
Really?
Yeah. So like the surgery was worse pain because I got 2 screws kind of put through into the bone. No plate or anything, but 2 screws. And that pain, like that next day when the like painkillers started to wear off, and I thought I was like King Dick trying to go with no painkillers. That was like the craziest pain I've ever been in, where like I started just taking like 3 or 4 like endones to try and like get myself off of this like pain thing that I was going through, and because I was so depleted, it just wouldn't get any better.
Yeah,
It was insane. Yeah.
Is that the worst injury that wouldn't be the worst injury you've had, surely?
Nah, that one's up there. I've also like in 2012 I ruptured my spleen over in Austria. So I like fully high-sided on a jump, landed, dislocated my shoulder at the same time, which popped back in, which was nice. But I kind of landed on my front and my elbow like dug into my spleen. And like ruptured it, but I didn't know. So I like thought I was just winded, and I was winded, but I got my breath back a little bit. Rode down the rest of the track. This was in practice. Rode down the rest of the track. Did push-ups at the bottom because I was wondering like how my shoulder was feeling to maybe keep riding the rest of the day or something. Still didn't feel right, so then got some food, like got a sandwich, which I'm internally bleeding, so I shouldn't be eating anything. Then had a shower, started feeling shooting pains going into my left shoulder, and then at that stage it was like 3 hours later I like got rushed to hospital. I remember like on the way to hospital I was like going in and out of consciousness and like dying pretty much from the internal bleeding.
From your elbow?
Yeah. I had like a big scrape mark on my elbow.
You must have punched it in so fucking hard to rupture your spleen.
Yeah, well, it was in Leogang, which is where we raced. There's this year World Cup. It'd probably be on my YouTube as well. So it's like a motorway section with these huge like wooden kicker jumps, and like you're doing 60 Ks at them. And I was young. I did like a huge whip. Didn't bring it back, landed full sideways on the landing, and just got like high side, like pitched forward, and then just landed on my stomach. And so it was like a huge like force into my stomach, and I'm sure I copped elbow, handlebars, everything in there. And then had to like lay flat for 10 or 12 days or something, like not allowed to sit up, move, like not even move my legs or anything. Like, and they left my spleen in, they didn't pull it out.
Oh,
so really? Just full bedridden, like only allowed to move my hands, and I was just drinking soup, and that was it for like full 10 days straight. And then they were like, all right, well, now you slowly get up, like your bleeding stopped. You've only lost about 10% of your spleen, which is just dying off, and it will just get accumulated. And then, flew home 3 months later. They were like, go do whatever you want.
No shit.
Yeah.
And when you do weird. Like a whip over a thing, is that just for aesthetics? Because obviously you don't get scored on things like that. That's just to feel fun. Like a mad dog.
Yeah. I was just like, they were fun jumps. I was young and loved throwing whips, and just threw this huge one and just didn't bring it back. And now I chill a lot.
How do you get back on the bike after that?
Yeah, so that was pretty hard actually. I like slowly got back into it, and guess because I was a fair bit younger, I was like didn't really care too much. So that happened at the start of the season before the World Cup started, that injury. So I came home, did like the 3 months, and then did like another month of getting ready. And then I actually was still selected, because I was the national champion earlier that year, still selected for World Champs, which was at the same track that I crashed on in Leogang in Austria. So I trained everything for that, came back to that race. Felt actually pretty good still. In my race run, the second corner in, right hand or left, the second corner in, like slid out on this fire road and dislocated my shoulder again.
Just got bad number on that track, eh?
Yeah, that track was just haunting me for so long. But I finally got rid of the monkey off my back, I guess, in 2021, where I won the World Cup on that track.
Oh, killer.
So I was like, that's done. It's like, now it's a
Bad
good track.
Over.
Yeah.
Is there a track that you like have wanted to do but you're just too scared to do?
All the World Cup tracks are fine.
Do you do like tracks for your own kind of fun though, like, or do you purely do for racing?
Yeah, so I guess the tracks for fun would be mainly in like Whistler in Canada, because that's a huge bike park, and there is a racetrack there, but they're famous for like their huge jump tracks, like massive jumps, jump lines where they have over 100 jumps the whole way down, and it's just like the most fun you've ever had on a bike. So I always go there, try and get there like at least once a year just to ride and just have fun and just enjoy it. Normally there's a race as well, like a Crankworks event that's like pretty huge as well. So they're like pretty fun, but for me, like say the Rampage stuff, or there's like the hardline stuff as well that might be coming to Tasmania, is coming to Tasmania early next year. That stuff like scares me a lot because it's like really big. I am going to go and have a look at the one in Tasmania, and I'm literally just going to go there with my bike, look at it, attempt a couple things if I feel up to it, but I have like no regards of like backing out. Like I'm sure people will be like, oh, like, you know, he's so soft, he can only race and blah blah blah, but like people don't understand that this stuff is like,
oh, you fucking hurt yourself really bad.
Yeah, and it's like my sponsors aren't paying me to do these crazy events, they just want me to win the races. So it's like they don't want me to go and
you'd be
risk
doing
my
them
life.
A disservice as well for fucking breaking both your kneecaps
or
your wrists and having 6 months off.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit in a wheelchair for another, what was it, 4 months or something when I did my ankle the last time.
4 months.
Yeah, it was a pretty long time.
That's ages.
Yeah, because you
properly fucked it up.
Yeah, I snapped the one bit that like kind of like held the structure to it, so I needed to like stay off of it for super long, but it was kind of, I stayed off of it for a long time and got it to really heal, and then got a lot of the flexibility back, and then when I went to put the strength into it, it came back straight away. So it was kind of like, it was pretty like long at the start, but then it came back straight away. So now it feels normal, like feels no different to my left ankle. So it's kind of...
So those people that you see on like, that I see on Reels and Instagram Reels and TikTok and stuff, that will be on mountain faces on their bike, they're not downhill bikers, they're just thrill seeking at the end of the day. That's like an extreme sport almost.
Yeah.
Because you see some crazy shit people do on bikes.
Yeah,
like
fully.
The terrain that they're on, where they're on like a ledge literally as wide as their bike, and it's like a 1,000-foot fucking drop and shit.
Yeah, that's like full... That's on downhill bikes, but that's like full
different thing.
Free ride kind of like... Yeah, let's see how gnarly we can make this ride, you know? Like they're out there to like feel scared and get that adrenaline rush of like, I could die right now.
Oh, and they fucking will.
Yeah.
If they keep doing it.
Yeah, fully.
There's like that free solo. I'm not sure if you heard of Alex Honnold.
Yeah, I've watched that.
There's only like fucking 6 of them left in the world because everyone, like you push you try and find the edge, you're going to find it one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just, you're going to find it one day.
Yeah, and finding it, like hundreds of meters off the ground is not really...
He does make a good point. He said if you fall from 10 meters, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
So there is no difference with climbing 10 to climbing the 1.4 Ks or whatever he fucking did.
True.
Because you're just going to take longer to die.
Yeah. Just going to fall for a little bit longer.
Yeah, like 2
unless
minutes.
you enjoy the free fall for a bit.
Oh, it's watching that documentary. That still is probably one of my favourite documentaries I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was insane. Yeah, like when he just woke up and just was already out there.
He's like just somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's more, I don't know how you'd be able to film that.
Yeah, I know. And now we're his friends as well. It's not just like a film crew like Netflix coming over and being like, oh yeah, we're going to film it, and if you do die, then it's just better for us.
I couldn't watch it.
It's his friends, and they're like telling him not to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to watch someone do that. Climbing freaks me out.
Yeah.
Even watching like Darcy on his Instagram do like fucking backflips on his motorbike and shit. It's like, it's fucking so scary.
Yeah, and those ramps are huge. Like
they're massive.
They obviously need all that air time to like have time in the air to do the tricks. So it's like just hitting that ramp. But I think for them as well, like it's almost easier to hit the ramp and do like a huge whip or a backflip than it is to just straight air it, because they've got too much time to
idle in the air.
Yeah, to like know what to do with. So when they're doing the backflip, it's just like natural to like just go, like keep looking, spot the landing, and like clear it nice. It's super weird.
Are you preparing for? Is there any tournaments coming up besides that thing you're going to go suss out in Tasmania?
Not really. Like there's a couple like local races, but
it's our summer, so it's everywhere else's winter, so it'd be snow season everywhere.
Yeah,
I guess.
I definitely can't go overseas or anything.
That's killer for you.
But yeah.
So in that winter, is your go time really?
Yeah, I've pretty much like only been in and out of winter for like a couple of weeks here and there. So like I've haven't seen a full winter season since 2010.
No shit.
Yeah, so I'm just chasing summer completely.
Some of the terrain that you go to looks so nice as well.
Yeah. It's like
you get to see some of the coolest parts of the world.
Yeah, because you go, like, I'm not a big city person. Like, I love the mountains and being away from the city and stuff. So we literally, like, fly into areas and then just drive to remote,
the coolest parts,
amazing mountains and do that for a living.
Is there a lot? Have you done a lot in America?
A fair bit. Like, not heaps. When I was first starting, our team was kind of based in America. So I spent heaps of time in like SoCal and LA area.
Do they have like things up in Montana and Alaska and shit?
I'm pretty sure Montana maybe. I'm not sure about Alaska.
Alaska's always cold maybe. I don't know if they have like a warm season where they would
I'm not
melt
sure.
the snow and shit.
I haven't heard of it, so maybe not. I mean, I'm sure there's people that ride up there, but it's not like a proper destination. But like West Virginia and all those huge mountains over there, we did a race before that last one, so like the second to last race on the YouTube would be in the US in West Virginia, and like the crowds were like pretty sweet, and they're always pretty loose in America.
In Nevada as well?
I think so. I've never been, but
because that's heaps mountainous there.
Yeah. I mean, America's got so many people that ride mountain bikes. I wouldn't be surprised if like every state has some form of pretty decent track or something like that.
It's insane that so many good bike riders of every genre of like the sport come from Australia.
Yeah.
We do really well on anything with two wheels.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like you said, think of anything
doesn't get any coverage in the media.
No.
Ever.
Nah. Well, if you're not AFL, you're not getting
if it's not AFL, you don't get any. When Volkanovski, this UFC fighter, he got ranked pound for pound number 1.
Yeah.
In the UFC.
Yeah.
That's like a fucking massive honour.
Yeah.
Because the sport's massive now, like globally.
Yeah.
He was pound for pound number 1, best fighter in the world, come out of Wollongong in New South Wales. Nothing in the media.
That's insane.
Nothing. Possibly the greatest combat sports athlete of all time.
Yeah.
And just nothing in the media.
Yeah.
And we got the best bike riders almost in the world in any genre, like freestyle or downhill, fucking on a motorbike, on anything with wheels, we're like in the top 10 always.
Yeah, always. Yeah, it's crazy. Like even right now, we've got in moto, we've got like this kid. He's like 18 years old, like Jet Lawrence, and he's overseas, like living over in America now, and he's got a brother Hunter as well, and they're both like, well, especially Jet is like dominating in the premier class, like the 450 category, like absolutely destroying. Like this year, he went and won every single. Was it outdoor or supercross? Must have been outdoor. He won every single race, which has only been done once ever before. And like everyone was like, there's no way it can happen again. He went full clean sweep. Like that's every single time he got on the gate, he won the race.
That's insane.
And you hear nothing about it.
How old is he?
He's like 18.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So it's like he was his first year on the 450. So like you ride 250 and that's kind of like the junior category, I guess you could say. And then 450 is like the premier class, and he just comes and dominates. And like there's so many people on Instagram and Facebook trying to like talk to like not even news channels, but like the government being like, hey, you've got like this kid that's like the best already at 18. Like he's like you've got other riders that are called like the GOAT and stuff, like Rick Carmichael and then James Stewart's and stuff, that are like the best that's ever been. He's already doing what they're doing, but he's 18, and they were like, you know, in their 20s at that stage.
What part of Australia is he from?
I'm not sure actually. I would say I don't actually know, but I think maybe New South Wales from memory, but I could be completely wrong with that. But yeah, obviously there's not really many good tracks here in Australia, so you got to like.
It's another thing. It just doesn't make sense as to how like Australia gets so good at that, because obviously the culture in Australia is footy, or rugby, or like bowl sports. Most bowl sports, not really any. But we don't have the infrastructure for anything else. Yeah,
it's super weird because like you see all these different sports in America like pop up and just like go bunter and become massive. Like you've even got like frisbee golf, which is
dope.
Yeah, I like it as well.
I like watching it.
Yeah, but they're like the best of the world. There are making like $500,000. And then their tournaments are like the prize money's like over $100,000. And then you go to like our World Cups. If you win a World Cup, you win maybe €3,000.
Is there much? I was going to say, is it financial? Unless you get sponsorships, do you win much if you win like say an event?
Yeah, so like the major thing is the sponsorship salary is like how we get paid, and then event stuff. It's like World Cups pay pretty low. It's like €3,000 for the win, which is barely covers your flights.
They wouldn't cover costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously you got your mechanic and shit that you don't do it for love.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you get there is like a couple races that boost up the prize money, but like the highest one is probably 25 grand for a win, which is like pretty cool. But when you're looking at all these other sports that are like
sponsors would be the big one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even sponsors for us are the big one, but then for some reason like downhill doesn't attract like your massive sponsors, like your car sponsors or anything. Like if for some reason it just like we get enough views, we get like Rebel Rampage gets insane amount of views, and obviously they have a lot bigger prize money, but it just seems really weird that like the prize money is so low from the actual events and the racing side of it.
There's also other avenues you can go down now, like YouTube and stuff. Like your YouTube's pretty popular.
Yeah, and that's just been like I've always posted a couple videos here and there of race runs, but this year like with my sponsor Canyon Bikes, they kind of like came to me and was like, hey, can we help you do like some vlogs of the racing?
Nice.
And we'll provide you with like a filmer, and he'll edit and stuff as well.
That's sick.
So I literally just grab a few things of me at the start of the day, like with the GoPro, obviously film each run, film some talking and stuff, and then just give him all the footage, and I can go like rest, stretch, get the massages on my arms and stuff and get ready for the next day while he's just tinkering away, like editing that day of footage. And
That's sick.
Yeah, he just uploads it all and everything, which makes my life super easy at the races. And then obviously when I come home, I'll do all that stuff myself, because I do kind of like doing it. Like, it is fun to edit and place things in areas.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I say before I did the podcast, I couldn't even use a computer.
Oh, really?
I dropped out of school early and I couldn't use a computer.
Yeah.
And then I started the podcast and I fucking just had to learn how to use one.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty quick with it now.
Yeah.
But the day I don't have to fucking worry about clip, it's hard to. So the issue with it like this now is I'm editing it while we're doing it now.
Yeah, right.
Like with my left hand.
Yeah.
I'm switching cameras and shit.
Yeah,
But
right.
because I'm so focused on talking, after the podcast, you'll find sometimes you don't even remember what we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, because you're so focused at the time,
Yeah.
you don't really remember key moments after. So I got to rewatch the whole fucking podcast to make clips out of it.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
the annoying thing. Whereas if someone was just sitting there, it would make it easier. But,
Yeah, for sure.
but
Yeah.
that's sick. That is the team that you ride with Cold Canyon as well.
Yeah, so it's like called the Canyon Collective racing team, or pretty much like that. There's the actual name is hard. Like, we don't actually know. Well, I don't actually know what the full name is, but yeah, it's like we just call it the Canyon Collective. So it's kind of like we're the Canyon Collective downhill race team. There's a cross country race team. There's enduro race team.
Yeah.
But we're all in the collective, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's like a team of myself, like the riders and myself. Luca, he's from America. Dante's from America. They're both in elite. And then we have Millie, she's an elite woman. And then we've got my mechanic, Luca's mechanic, and then one mechanic for Dante and Millie. And then a team manager, a truck driver, and like a masseuse kind of cook person.
So it's a pretty big
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah, and then you've got like the team owner as well, and that's like he lives in France and we're based out of France. And then obviously Canyon is a like German brand, so you've got all the people in Canyon that are like working behind the scenes, making the bike, like doing all that, and then you've got the team owner, which then we run out of his area in France. So when you look back at all of that, it's like a huge program that, is kind of all comes down to just one 4-minute race run.
And are you sponsored by? Obviously, the biggest thing would be to get sponsored by an energy drink.
Yeah.
That's probably the game changer for most people.
Yeah. So I'm sponsored by Monster. Probably should have a Monster.
Fuck Red Bull.
Yeah. Probably should have a Monster hat on right now, but
No, Jeff told me I was gonna offer you a can of Red Bull on the.
oh really?
Monster is a better drink. Mango Loco. Shout out to Mango Loco.
That is good, isn't it?
Oh, it's
yeah.
the fucking fruit of the gods. That is.
Yeah, you can get in trouble drinking too many of those.
But that's obviously the biggest like turning point probably for a sporting athlete.
Yeah, for sure. Like obviously when you first come into it, like you want to get obviously a Monster helmet or a Red Bull helmet or Rockstar or whatever. So I was pretty lucky. Like my first year in like racing World Cup, so my first like professional year, the team that I was on or got signed to was like called Monster Energy Specialized. So like straight away I got a Monster Energy helmet. So it was like my first pro year I already had the Monster Energy helmet. So yeah, since 2010 I've been a Monster Energy athlete.
Oh, for ages.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. Like honestly, right now I don't even know if I've got a physical contract with them, because like the main dude that I know, well, this is probably going to screw me up right now, but the main dude that I've known since 2010, like we're just such good buddies that it's just handshake agreement. Just at the end of the year, I just send him the invoice and it just gets paid, and off we go for another year.
Oh, really?
So it's one of those full, like, we've been together for so long that we just trust each other. Like, I'm not going
That's
anywhere.
good, though.
He's not going anywhere, and yeah.
That's better than, like, giving up to say, that's a good thing for kids to learn. Sometimes that extra $10,000 isn't worth the relationship you build with, like, a company.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, someone might be offering you something that looks financially better.
Yeah.
But you don't have that relationship with them.
Yeah, fully. Yeah, like you got to be careful. Like the more bridges you burn, like the less places you can walk. So, and our sport's like pretty tight knit. Like it's pretty small kind of circus, I guess you could call it. And like word gets around real quick. Like there's been a few people that have burnt some bridges over the years, and they're struggling to get rides even when they're top 10 in the world, because it's just no one wants them on their team.
Do you shit talk each other?
I wouldn't say we shit talk each other. I think because it's very individual sport, like you don't race side by side. So it's kind of like everyone's just happy for everyone to go as fast as they can, and if they win, they win. Like
there's no beefs.
There's not really any beefs. There's been like a couple little fights at an after party, but nothing, maybe a black eye or two, but that's about it. It's more just like we're pretty happy for each other to do well. Sometimes you try and get in their head a little bit, but it's like so individual sport kind of orientated that
They do it at the Olympics.
Nah, so that's the thing that sucks. Nah, we don't have it at the Olympics, and I don't think it will come to the Olympics, to be honest, because like to find a mountain close enough to the
Olympics
games or stadium or whatever is going to be hard. And then obviously to try and broadcast a 4-minute long run, you're going to need 100 cameras.
Do they do BMX racing?
So they brought BMX in a couple of years ago. Or
freestyle or racing?
Both. So they brought racing in, and now they've just brought freestyle in. And then this is the problem, that like now that freestyle BMX is in, like these guys are getting government funding, they're getting all these resources that, you know,
motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I'm just getting nothing, you know. So
have you seen that? Have you been to the one at is it fucking Flagstaff? No,
the BMX track, the new
one.
Yeah, so that's the Sam Willoughby one just at O'Halloran Hill.
Yes.
So that's like real close to where I live. And I used to be, when I was racing BMX, I used to be on the same team as like Sam. And then his like mum would be my like maths school tutor. So like I would finish school, like go over to his house, do like an hour of like tutoring, because I'm pretty dumb when it comes to like maths or anything school related. I can ride a bike and that's about it. So she would try and help me with all that, and then straight after that I'd finish and I'd have my bike as well. And then he had jumps in his backyard, and I'd just be ripping jumps with him like all afternoon, him and his brother. So yeah, it's pretty cool that now he's got like a full world-class BMX track.
I was going to say, that's like fucking world-class apparently.
Yeah, just out our back door, ready to go. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like insane to think where that's come from, and like, you know, how he's done so well, and then the injury that he got, and then bringing a full track back into South Australia is like huge. And I actually went up there a couple of weeks ago and stood on the start of like the 8-meter hill, and even I was like, this is a little scary. Like it's pretty,
is it 8 meters?
Yeah, it's pretty daunting. Like when you're on the edge where the gate start is, it kind of just like goes off and then like falls away pretty steep. And then the next thing that like when you're up there, you're looking at this like first lip of the first jump, which is a double, and it looks like really steep. Obviously it'd be way mellower once you get to the bottom, but you're looking at it from the top, you're like, that looks like it's going to send you to the moon. So, but it's cool because now, like we were saying before, like kids these days don't just have like a tiny track in their backyard that they're learning on. They're like actually on a proper world-class track, which is going to bring them up to speed way quicker than what I was doing back when I was younger. So it's like a perfect step for the juniors coming through to actually
one of my mate's kids, he'd be like 4, 5, and he rides that fucking track.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he probably does half the jumps as well.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, but even the balance, just being able to, just balance on his bike like that well.
Yeah.
And have the balls to go down the hills and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, fully.
Oh, also, Jeff wanted me to ask what the go is with fucking...
Oh, the shake
The
out.
shake.
Oh, man. Classic. So the shake is, I guess, the arms above the head before each race run or any timed run that I do.
I thought you were doing
racing.
shuckers at first.
Maybe I should bring that into it.
I thought, at first I was like, oh, he's just doing shuckers.
Throwing shuckers out. No, but I kind of I've always done it before a race run to like kind of shake my arms out and get rid of like, I guess, the bad blood, or I don't know, it's more a mental thing now. But yeah, try and like shake them out for arm pump. So I guess that's one of the big things with downhilling is like arm pump, because you're like gripping so hard and braking. And
I was going to say your forearms after like a big day,
yeah, it's insane.
Would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, your hands get like cramped onto the bars. You got to like slide them
You
off.
can see how big your forearms are compared to like the rest of your body as well. It's insane.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, I just shake them out every time since I started, really. Now it's just become a habit, and now it's become a thing. So I find like people will tag me every now and then of like them at a local race, and they're like getting someone to film and they're shaking their arms out, like, and then they tag me. So it's pretty funny to have like a little thing that I do, and people love it as well.
You have a big following.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh, it's a pretty niche sport, but it is fucking huge in Europe.
Yeah.
And America.
Yeah,
it's just obviously in Australia it's not talked about much, so you don't hear much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like you got a big following.
Yeah, it's like pretty decent on Facebook and Instagram, which is like cool. It helps with sponsors, and it helps, I don't know, just get the word out. And I don't know, I haven't like pushed really hard on social media or anything. I just kind of do it as I want to. I don't know, I don't try and spend too much time on there, but
It'll kill you.
yeah, exactly. But it's good. Like, what I try and just post things that I would like to see. Like, I don't want to just post things that are just boring. So yeah, I think that might keep a lot of people from like letting me go, I guess, or unfollowing me, you could say.
When did it change from like, oh shit, this is like really happening, I can do this forever, and like,
Yeah.
I don't have to get a fucking job.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
I think it was after my 2 World Championships years as a junior. So I did the first year not getting paid at all, just bonuses. Then the second year I got a little salary. I think it was maybe 8 or 10 grand or something, which was like awesome when I was 19.
At the time, that's big money.
Yeah, for sure. And then in 2011, my last junior year, in the very last race, it was like a World Cup race. We were still, so I was classified as a junior, but back then you would race in elite. There was no actual junior category. Only for World Championships there was a separate junior category.
Yeah.
But I would so the first 2 years I'd have to try and qualify in elite men as a young rider, and then the only good side of that, if I did well, like got on the podium or something, it was in elite men. So in 2011, the last World Cup, it was in Italy, I qualified 4th in elite as a junior, and like straight away started to shit myself. Like the next day, so that was qualifying, the next day woke up, couldn't eat anything, like couldn't drink. I was literally so nervous. I was like running back and forth from the bathroom before the race run, like could not hold anything in at all. Did the race and got 4th still, which was like awesome. So I qualified 4th, got 4th, which was sick. And that there kind of like cemented a deal, like that I got this offer from the same team that I was already on, but they just were like, here's all this money, we want you to stay on the team for long term, like 3-year contract. And that there was like, all right, now this is my job now.
That's sick.
Which was pretty cool.
And it's awesome that you still like it, because a lot of people obviously will have a passion for something and then they'll make it their job and then they'll lose the passion for it.
Yeah, fully.
But it's when you keep the passion for it, that's probably when you get to the 1% of the community that is the best at it, kind of thing.
Yeah, fully. And that's like, for the most part of like my whole career, I've just like always said to myself, like, just keep having fun. Like, obviously you do the training, you do all the work, you really want to win and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to want to do it. So I always tell myself, like, when things are stressful, if I don't have a good race, if I don't, want to like push that extra limit or something, just like come back to having fun, and then like that will regenerate your feeling of like, all right, I'm going to like push real hard the next week in training, and I'm going to like do this, and then the next race you're like, you don't have a bad race, you have a good race, or and it's kind of a bit up and down, but it's just trying to keep level-headed and try and like just make it long term. Like a lot of these races that come through downhilling are pretty short term, whether they have injuries or they just overdo themselves or whatnot. They come in and they go out, under 10 years.
That's
for sure.
that risk for reward thing again. It's like, if I push this and I do win this race, I could win, or I could end my career.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's risk for reward.
Yeah, fully.
It's just weighing up the options. But do you have an exit plan? What's the average? Like, you'd be in your prime now, probably. Like, I'd imagine it's similar to most sports, like 28 to 35 or even 36.
Yeah.
But do you have like an exit strategy of like where you're going to go after?
Yeah, I've like thought about a few different things. Like, obviously I could just
coach.
Yeah, coach. That's pretty much the easiest one to go down. I've done a bit of coaching already. So I kind of OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I might need to get a sex change to make that a bit better. But yeah, I don't know. Coaching is it's going to be the easiest one. I've done that a fair bit. But then, there could also be like maybe a bike company wants me to be their test rider and test the new bikes that are coming through and kind of help them develop that.
Still in the same industry.
Yeah. I don't think trying to be like a plumber or something now is going to be... I don't think I'd enjoy that, seeing as I have so much freedom with my job. I can go train and then do whatever else I want to do for half of the day. Like if I start working a 9 to 5, I think that's going to be pretty hard for me.
You should do a podcast on your channel.
Yeah, that'd be probably
you
pretty good.
You should start a podcast up because you have like a niche thing that do really well.
Yeah.
And you already have the following for it, so they would do really well.
Yeah.
And you'd have access to some fucking cool people.
Yeah.
I imagine there's some real strange units in your sport as well.
Yeah. I know some famous people, I guess you could say in quotations, and then also some hectic units.
I reckon there would be some very odd people in that kind of world.
Yeah, some conversations would get out of hand, I reckon.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah.
So, I won't keep you too long because it is school night, but thank you for coming on. So is Troy Brosnan on Instagram?
Yeah, pretty much
everywhere.
Everything is just Troy Brosnan. I'm old enough to be able to get my full name into Instagram, Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
Think of the kids these days that have to try and create these names on Instagram, and like Troy Brosnan's already taken. What do they do then?
Do you know how you know you're fucking old? When you have to put your birthday on something and it has a scroll wheel,
and you gotta go,
and now you got to do it twice. You used to just be able to do that, and now you got to kind of go twice.
Yeah,
to 1993.
Yeah, fully. Yeah. Oh. Well, even like this day and age, like I will speak to like a niece or a nephew or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, when were you born?" You say 19, and they shit themselves. They're like, "What do you mean 19?"
People born in 2023.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's insane. Like, you think when we're like 80 years old, if we say we were born in 1990 something, like kids are just going to be like, say if someone came to you right now and was like, oh yeah, I was born in 1930, you'd be like,
That's
holy
old.
shit, that's old. But like, I think it will sound gnarlier.
90s babies.
Yeah.
Do you know what's weird as well? Like my nieces or some of the staff at my work will be listening to some music, and I'll be like, "What is this shit?" And that is exactly what my parents used to say to me, or older people would say to music I would listen to. It's like, I just don't understand what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah.
And my nieces or something will say a word or a phrase, and I'll be like, what the fuck does that mean?
It's like another language now. I can't even keep up. Yeah,
mean?
like we've got two young like riders, the two young elites, they're 20 and 21, Dante and Millie, and they come up with some phrases and shit, and I'm like, guys, like, explain. I'm too old for this shit. And they look at me like laughing, and I'm like,
If you see my Google history, it's hilarious. It's like, what does that slaps mean?
Yeah. And even if I'm like, oh, I'll go on TikTok and try and learn this stuff, my TikTok's not generating that shit for me. Like, I'm just getting motocross and that's it.
Yeah, my TikTok's mainly people fucking hurting themselves.
Yeah.
Getting injured. But I appreciate you coming on, because I imagine you're a pretty busy dude. Check him out. Instagram, YouTube, social medias. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It was a great chat. And
Thank you. Easy.